Greetings to everyone out there around the world. I want to first of all say thank you, and I'm most humbled to be part of this incredible event. The Partners Council, what can I say? Guys, JR and Greg, I don't know how I follow that. I mean, to put something as profound out as, you know, find this, give people a solution to their needs. I mean, that's as simple as it gets. That's simplicity, but that is powerful. Listen, my name again is Quintin Wiggins. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to what we have. I'm here today from the ATL, and in the words of an AT alien, I'm here to put a little paint where it ain't and talk to you today about some things. You know, I was going to talk about some of the tools that we have, but I said, you know what? The most powerful tool, the most effective tool is our attitude. Um, Without that, it doesn't matter if we use social media. It doesn't matter if we have the most phenomenal tools at our disposal available. But if our attitude isn't right, what does it mean? And let's talk about that. What I want to do though is start with the story, my story, and I can only tell my story the way it happened. When I started in the business, I was excited because I said I saw something with this powerful product, which at the time, 20 years ago now, almost 20 years, was Noni. A little bit skeptical in that I didn't know, I heard great things, but I didn't know for myself. So when I got started, of course, immediately I went to family and friends. And I went to family and I remember being excited and I remember holding that bottle of juice up and saying, this is going to be the answer financially to our family's problems. And I remember going to one of my favorite uncles, man, and his and I have some family on the Zoom, so they know who when I say Uncle James, they know who I'm talking about. I was the guy. Understand something? I was the nephew. Always had a good job. I've worked with several Fortune 500 companies. Always made pretty good money as money goes. Thankful to have that, but needed something more for myself. I came into my Uncle James's house with this juice, and he laughed out loud. It was one of those chuckles that wasn't with me; it was at me, and it kind of hurt. And here's what hurt even worse. And some of you may have experienced this. He pulled out a $5 bill to give me for the product. He said, "I can do this for you." But it was a chuckle that I always remember. He'll tell you the same story as well. And had I not had some training in personal development, it would have devastated me. And so I went on, sold some more product, I think, went on and sold a few family members product, had a few family members support me and said, man, this is great. Well, as I got up a little more courage, and now mind you, I was working with a small automotive company at the time called, I won't say the name, but I will spell it, Ford. And I finally got up the courage to go into it and tell my fellow coworkers what I was doing. And, I was always the guy at Ford Motor Company that was reading personal development books, reading Rob Report. So they always, chuckled at me a little bit, but that was okay. I came in with my product and I remember saying, man, I got something. This is going to be the answer. I found the business model and the opportunity that's going to take me to another level. Man, they laughed. They said, you are not telling me, Quintin Wiggins, that you are here telling us that you're going to start slinging juice and it's going to be the answer to all your financial dreams. I said, yeah. Well, of course, I don't know if some of you may know this or may not know this. My nickname is Q Noni, and that started off from Ford. But they didn't start that nickname as a term of endearment or, to talk proudly of me. It was to ridicule me. They would say, Q Noni in the house, right? And they would say things like, Q Noni, hey, listen, my thumb is hurt. You got any Noni for it? And I remember one guy, he just was in on me all the time. He said, Q Noni, my car won't start. You got any Noni? And that was just kind of where it went from there. But what I will say to everyone in telling that story, remember something. Stay off the emotional roller coaster, because had I been on a roller coaster, what happens for a lot of people is when they hear those people who they thought would support them, who thought would be behind them, who thought would be in their corner, say negative things about them, discount their product, discount the opportunity, it takes them to a nosedive. It's like a roller coaster. Then they may have somebody say, man, this is great. I'll support you. I'm going to do what it takes to help you have success. And you go up the roller coaster. And then somebody says, you know what? I don't believe you're doing something like this. I can't believe that you would be taking a risk and about to leave your job or taking a chance with whatever. Down again. That's called the emotional roller coaster. Now I'm gonna tell you how you know someone's on that roller coaster. Anybody here who's ever sponsored somebody or got somebody started in a business who got started and they were excited, they went to a meeting and they saw it and they were like, man, this is the answer to my prayers. And it was great for a while, but about a week later, they stopped answering your phone calls. Your calls started going to voicemail. Maybe they took a week off. Maybe they were a co-worker and they literally took off time so they didn't have to see you. That is probably because they've been hit with the power of the emotional ride of the roller coaster. And the emotional roller coaster don't play. That knocks most people out of the business. It's not knowing this or not making money. It's people that they thought would be in their corner that weren't. And let me tell you something. I'm gonna give you a secret. A lot of times, your worst critics are disguised as family members. Okay? And that is a fact. And the problem with that for a lot of people is family members can sow the deepest wounds. You know, when you have that, when they say something, it may be an uncle or aunt that means a lot to you. And that hurts the worst, okay? So stay off the emotional roller coaster. What do I mean by that? I don't mean be positive all the time or be negative all the time. I'm saying, listen, people are gonna come to you and say, I'm gonna get started in business. You're gonna do a presentation. They say, I'm gonna get started tomorrow. You know what you're gonna do? You're gonna say, that's great. You're gonna have people come to you and say, hey, listen, I don't like the juice. I don't like the way it tastes. I don't think it'll work. Say, that's great. People are gonna come to you and say, hey, listen, I'm gonna buy 10 cases next week. You just wait. I've got some money coming. I'm going to get 10 cases of product. I'm going to get 10 cases of your best product. I'm going to, whatever, case up and pill up the world. You know what your response is going to be? That's phenomenal. People are going to say things, you don't want to do this. You want to stay right in the middle because that's going to keep you even keeled throughout the entire process. Remember one saying, as you go along in this journey, it's the 3 SWs. Some will, some won't. So what? Next. Some will, some won't. So what? Next. Remember, 90% of people moving forward or taking advantage of your opportunity and becoming a part of your team or business is timing. No does not mean no forever. No means no for right now. That get very good at following up. But the best thing you can do for yourself is stay, first of all, off the emotional roller coaster. Stay even keel and you'll be fine. Now, number 2 thing you want to do is build your belief. Build your personal belief. I believe personally, your enthusiasm can never be any higher than your belief. What do I mean by build your belief? Well, you want to build your belief in at least 4 things. You want to build your belief in the product. I can tell you what I did to build my belief in the product. One of the things that I understood that, well, Quintin, what if you don't feel anything immediately? What if it doesn't do anything for you noticeable quickly? What are you going to do then? How are you going to tell that story? What I decided to do was I think I purchased maybe 5 or 6 or 7 maybe cases of Noni juice. And that's all we had at the time. So when I speak in those terms, understand that was the product that I was working with at the time. I got like 7, 8 cases of Noni juice and I sold it as quickly as I could. My rationale was that if I sold enough of the product, I would at least get a few positive testimonies. And that's all I was really looking for, was some people to put a stamp of approval, if you will, on what I had, so that would build my belief. Number two was to be a product of my product. You've got to be a product of your product. One of the things I tell people all the time, I should be able to walk, a person, anyone should be able to walk into your house and tell that you're an agent of your product. You shouldn't be a secret agent. A lot of times we walk into people's houses and they're secret agents. Secret agents mean they're undercover. If you couldn't pay them to show you what they did for a living, or what they did as their opportunity. So make sure it's evident that you are a product of your product. Number two, build belief in yourself. One of the things I tell people is, one of the best ways to build belief in yourself is to have some success. Have success that you have personally produced. I remember years ago, I had a gentleman come to me and say, Quintin, what would you do if your upline, meaning the person maybe that was in your succession of sponsorship, left? Would you leave? And I said, oh, and I said without hesitation, absolutely not. And the thing that baffled me was he was surprised by that, because he said so many people tie their success to the team they're with. They tie their success to the person who sponsored them. They tie their success to a system that somebody gave them. And one of the things that I understand, those things are all great and phenomenal. They're all support systems and they all attributes. But the reason for your success will ultimately be you and what you do day in and day out. And by that time the person asked me that particular question, I had understood what it took to be successful. Driving the miles and miles, doing meetings where no one showed up, getting halfway to a city 300 miles away and have someone call and cancel. All of those things were part of the process or the journey of success. But once you cross through that journey and you start to see the results and the positive results, no one can take that away from you. And it becomes something that you start to see and feel within you, which is a belief in yourself. Number three, the system. Now, here's the great part. Systems are phenomenal, but systems are only good if you learn them and master them. You've ever seen anybody that does something in maybe a restaurant, a sushi chef, and you say, wow, how do they do that? They work a system and they do it and they do it and they do it and they do it until they master it. And that's what it's all about, okay? So last but not least, building belief in your company. And that's where we are now. We're at the building stage now. We've had a lot of success, but now we're in a slight transition where a lot of people may be peeping in and saying, okay, is this gonna take me where I wanna go for the next 15, 20 years? And you have to do those things. I tell a lot of people, listen, take time out, read the books you need to read, go to the home office. Mr. Mark Wilson, our phenomenal CEO, issued an invite to his home. Now the question is, how many of you would take advantage of that? How many of you would say, man, very few people actually go the extra mile to really, really, really find out what our company is all about. Find out where our checks are cut. Find out where the products are bottled, where they're packaged at. Take a trip out there. It's worth, trust me, I've done it several times. It's worth everything to do those things. If it means building your belief, thereby building your enthusiasm. And your enthusiasm is what's going to become contagious. Like Mr. Les Brown said, I was listening to someone's tape, he said, listen, people will come watch you burn if you're excited enough about it. Okay. Now, with those things said, that's part of the science of attitude. I want to talk about something that is near and dear to me. That is involvement versus commitment. Now, in order to do that, there's another story I got to tell you. Some of you have already heard it, but I love this because it's still relevant today. There's a restaurant here in Atlanta and around the South called Waffle House. Okay. On every corner, many of you know about it. And outside of Waffle House, there was standing a chicken and a hog. The chicken obviously looked distressed, obviously felt a certain kind of way. And the hog was like, why are you feeling so distressed? Why are you feeling looking like you kind of mad about something? The chicken said, well, I'm just tired of being second fiddle. I'm tired of being, not taken seriously. The hog said, well, why is that? He said, well, listen. The chicken said, well, listen. Why does the menu say bacon and eggs? Why does the menu say sausage and eggs? Why does the menu say ham and eggs? Why doesn't it say eggs and bacon, eggs and sausage, eggs and ham? I don't get it. I'm as big a part of the success and the enjoyment of the people's meals as you are, Mr. Hall. And the hog looked at the chicken and said, listen, chicken, you don't understand something. When you hit that breakfast plate, you just involved. You just laying an egg. Okay? When I hit that breakfast plate, I have made a total commitment to those people's enjoyment. And so I would think because I made that commitment, I deserve to be first on the menu. And that's what this is all about, folks, making a commitment. For those of you that are listening right now, make a commitment to your business. Stop being involved. Stop saying things like, when are y'all going to have another meeting? When are y'all going to do this? If there needs to be something done in your city, you do it. If there needs to be something purchased in your city, you do it. If there's something need to be built in your city, you do it. Make a commitment. That will make all of the difference in the world to the success of yourself, your team, and your family. Like I said again, folks, this train is taking off from the depot right now. It's getting cranking. When it's up and rolling, it's going to be like a runaway train, no brakes, no gears. You say, hold up, stop. It's going to run you over. Like the song said in my intro, ain't no half stepping. Don't half step with this. Don't be a person that said, I wish I woulda, coulda, shoulda. Understand this thing is going to happen with or without any of us today. With that, you don't want to be the person that looks like that a year from now, saying, I wish I coulda, woulda, shoulda. With that being said, it's been a plum pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege. Thank you guys for having me today. My name again is Quintin Wiggins on behalf of our phenomenal Partners Council team. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you very much.
Outstanding.